Hey friends, it's Robin. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing my June TBR. I think I mentioned this like in every single one of my June TBR videos, but June is my favorite month of the entire year. I am so excited that summer is here. And this June is also the Amazing Readathon. If you have not heard of the Readathon, I'm going to leave the host's video down in the description box so you can go check out Bree's announcement and description and breakdown of the entire Readathon. But I am on Team Bromance, which is hosted by Izzy from Happy for Now and Heather from AUDIOBooktubes. Part of this Readathon means that you can't really set a TBR because you don't actually know the like 10 core prompts, but we did get a list of 50 sightseeing prompts, which are all prompts that can give you anywhere from extra 100 to 500 points. And so what I decided to do is make those prompts into my TBR jar. This is completely different than my normal jar of prompts. Every single prompt in here is one of the sightseeing prompts from the readathon. They are color-coded by number of points. I don't remember which color is which in all honesty, but I did technically color code them. So I think the game plan is going to be, first, I'm going to go over all of the arcs that I have for June, and then we are going to pick a handful of prompts to start off the month. So as of the day that I'm filming this, which is May 23rd, I only have one June arc left unread, which is One Star Romance by Laura Hankin. Maybe. I did just get this on audio from Penguin Random House Audio, so I may listen to this before going into June. I kind of want to go into June with absolutely zero June arcs, partly because of the readathon and partly because I want to finally get ahead on my arcs. So instead, what I want to try and use is all of my July arcs because there's so many of them. I think I have 11 July arcs. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that these July arcs will fit into those like 10 core prompts for the readathon. I'm just going to quickly go over these. I don't have any physically right now, but I have Love of My Afterlife, which is about a heroine who dies and ends up finding her true love. I also have Game Changer by Lena Ferguson, which is a hockey romance by the same author as The Nanny and Fake Mate. The Next Best Fling by Gabriela Gomez. The heroine is in love with the groom and the hero's in love with the bride, and instead of sharing the feelings, they fall in love with each other. Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto, which is the follow-up to Forget Me Not, which was a 5-star read of mine. It's like rival musicians, I believe. I have The X Vows by, I think it's Jessica Joyce, which is another book set at a wedding. Apparently that's going to be a thing. And I believe it's exes that are the maid of honor and best man at this wedding. And the wedding is turning into a disaster. And as they are trying to save the wedding, they are falling back in love. The Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love by India Holton, which is the start of her next historical fantasy romance series. I know literally nothing about this other than birds. I have Crossed the Line by Simone Sultani. This was originally supposed to be self-pubbed ages ago, like last year, I believe, and it got picked up by a publisher and it is finally coming out. It is an F1 romance, which I've never read before. I'm not like a racing girl, but I'm excited to read this romance. I also have You Had Me at Happy Hour by Timothy Janofsky, which is a like wine taster and a bartender, I believe. Then I have Jewel Me Twice by Cherish Reed, and I believe this is like a spy romance. And then lastly, finally we're at the end, is The Fiancé Dilemma by Elena Armas. I have no idea if this is tied to her last book or not. I don't even know the synopsis, really. I want to say the heroine has to choose between a whole bunch of guys. So those are all the arcs that I have that I can hopefully use for at least the majority of the 10 core prompts. Like I said, I won't know what those are until they're announced throughout the readathon. The only books that I can choose are those sightseeing prompts. What I did is I came up with a list of books for pretty much every single one of the prompts with a couple of exceptions. I put almost all of the prompts in here, and we are going to start, I think, by picking, how many do we think I should pick? I guess we'll start by picking 6. This will be a short TBR, but I'm scared to to overpick because I want to be able to pick as the month goes too. Like I said, they're color coded, but I don't remember what the colors are. So we'll kind of figure that out as it goes. So this is the first one. It's pink. This is to read a book with an odd page count. Let's see, that is a 100-point prompt. And the book that I had picked for that was Ember by Claire Kent, which is book, I think, 4 in the Haven. Is it the Haven Last Light series? But I can't read book 4 until I read book 1. So for odd page count, I'm actually going to put this one back and just replace it with the prompt for book 1 in the series. So the first book in this series is a 400-point prompt, and that is a book with a one-word title, and that's Haven by Claire Kent. This is technically the first book in this series, but I did read the prequel novella, which was Last Light. I have been hoarding this series, and now I'm going to try to use as much of it as I can for this readathon, partly because I think it's going to be a really quick and fun series, but you do get bonus points for reading a host's favorite, and this series was on Heather's list. I get bonus points for this entire series, so I put that last prompt back into the jar so that I can pick it again. If I do pick the one that I've already done now, I'll just put it off to the side. Prompt number 2, hopefully this makes sense on how I'm doing this. I put a lot of series and things on here, so I have to make sure that I'm picking them in order. I'm trying not to look so I'm not basing it on the color. So we have a purple one. This is a book that was released during my birth month, which is a February release. This is the 400-point color. So a birthday release, I have The Revenge Agenda by Saxon James. I have this on audio through Everand, and this is the next book in the Accidental Love series. I'm getting all of the series confused at this point, but I am nearly done with this backlist. If I read the 2 books that are on this list, I'm completely caught up with the entire Satan-verse. I don't know the plot of this. I don't know who this follows. All of Saxon James' books are really, really quick reads, and the audiobook for this is 6 hours and 45 minutes-ish, so I will be able to read it in less than 3 hours, which is perfect for a readathon. Prompt number 3 is Yellow. This is a book with an isolated setting. I know what series I picked for this, but I don't know what number book. This is Princess by Claire Kent, which is, I think, book 3. Okay, it's the Kindled series, and this is actually book 2, so that works out perfect. I didn't mention this when I picked the first prompt, but this is a post-apocalyptic world where I think a meteor hit or something like that, and people got really, really sick, and now the majority of the population has died, and you are following essentially romances at the end of the world where they are just trying to survive. Prompt number 4, this one. Another purple one was at 400 points, I think, maybe. This is a book with over 100,000 ratings. I actually had a really hard time with this one. I remember when I was making this list because there weren't a lot of books on my TBR that have over 100,000 ratings, and I really didn't want to pick books that weren't already on my TBR or already interested in just for the sake of this readathon. So I'm going with The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen, which is an audiobook that I have owned for literal years. It is free on Audible, in case you didn't know. Actually, all of the series might be, and I'm the last person on earth to not have read this. This is about a 12-hour audiobook, so hopefully I can listen to it like a pretty quick speed. I'm pretty sure it's one of the first books I put on my TBR when I started my book Instagram. It's been a long time, so it's probably best that I finally read it. Prompt number 5. It's another pink one, so it was at 100 points. And this one is a book with a number in the title. This is actually also one of my A to Z prompts that I haven't hit yet, so that works out. I went with Heidi's Guide to 4-Letter Words. I'm totally blanking on the author's name. This is an Audible original. Again, it's free on Audible if you have a subscription. And this was one that went around everywhere when it was first released. It's one that's been sitting in my Audible library ever since. I've just never had, I guess, like an excuse or a reason to pick it up. I don't know anything about this. She might be a podcaster and maybe like a sex podcaster or something like that. But I remember people really loving it, and it's a book, again, that's been sitting in my library for so long. Just need it read and gone. And then our last prompt for this video, this is Blue. I don't know how many points Blue was. This is a book with a 5-word title. This is a 500-point prompt. I remember that. And this is another Audible one that I've had in my library for forever. Weird. The AI Who Loved Me by Alyssa Cole. This is a really short 5-hour audiobook about, I can't remember if the hero or the heroine is the AI, but essentially one of the main characters, their neighbor is AI, and I assume they have a romance. Okay, so that is it for my June TBR. Like I said, I have a giant list here of all of my options for the prompts. I have all of the books in my library except for 2, which technically haven't been released yet. But otherwise, I have all the books at the ready, either in KU or from my library or Everand or Audible, whatever it may be. Let me know if you are participating in the readathon. Let me know what team you are on. Otherwise, let me know what you are hoping to read this month or prioritize this month. I have my fingers crossed that it is my best reading month of the year, because February, March, and April were not super great. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I will see you in my next one. Bye.